There we go. Okay, here we are. Welcome, guys. Okay, it's October 24th. We are here for Destiny United Team Call. So we're super excited to have a special guest on tonight named Trysta. But first, we're going to go over quick announcements and recognition. This week, I am so excited to announce the people on the board for Top Recruiter, for Success Club, and for those who are just on the board. We have, for people who are just on the board, like on their way to Success Club, and if you don't know what Success Club is, that means every person that you help with the challenge pack, you actually get 2 points. And when you hit 5 points, you are part of Success Club for the month. There's Success Club 5, Success Club 10, and plus. Okay, and anytime you also do, I think it's any 90 PV item like Shakeology or Performance Line on auto ship, then that's also 2 points. So the people on the board: Amanda Steele, Anthony Braston, Kaylee Pinto, Diana Meckes, Cassandra Murphy, Ashley Albeck, that's me, Ashley Woodsick, Taryn Farkas, and Angela Mazzola. Awesome job, guys. So we have at Success Club, Amy Peters and Megan Broski. Megan's at 6, and Amy is at the top of the board with 16. You guys are freaking rocking it. I love Amy. Thank you so much for being an amazing leader on our team, leading the board. We have Top Recruiter. We have Angela at 1, myself at 1, Ashley Woodsick at 1, Megan at 1, Anthony Braston at 2. Am I saying that right? Maybe it's Braston. Amy Peters at 2. Guys, recruiting is so vital. I can't emphasize it enough. I can feel on the team a shift being made where we're talking about coaching more on our stories, on our posts. And I love it because it's basically exactly what we do for challenge groups, but we're just switching it up and sharing our story about coaching, right? So we have top team builder is Amy. And who is that?
And Kathy, I'm sorry.
Kathy. That's right. Amy and Kathy. Amy's at the top with Success Club. Is Anthony Kathy?
Yes.
Okay, that makes so much more sense now. I'm like, wait, that's not Anthony. That's fine, we're cool. And then top coach goes out to Patty Spitzer. Congratulations, Patty. You are taking the bull by the horns. What the heck am I saying? Oh my God, I'm gonna crack myself up. Okay, all right, Patty, you started your own team page. You're going at it with training and mentoring, and that is huge. Just going for it and getting out of your comfort zone. So great job, Patty. Oh my gosh, let's see if we can talk through these slides. Okay, next, announcements. Guys, I'm beyond excited about the peppermint mocha. I really don't know what to expect, and I was a little nervous, but after seeing everybody's responses from leadership when everybody was trying it, and then seeing Kaylee's response, I'm beyond excited. Even, I'm going to say his name wrong. I'm going to try not to. Amoila. I don't know. Anyway, even he was really, really into it, and he said he doesn't even like mint. So we're super, super excited to try this. And here's the deal. You need to order it right away. I mean, like the day it comes out, order it that morning, because you have a chance of it being sold out later in the day, and then you'll miss out. So get an alarm on your phone, set it for November 1st in the morning, and order your Shakeology. Just do it, all right? You can, 14 packets in a box. I don't know if there's a limit on them, but I'll get back to you on that later. But order them right away. Okay, so Super Weekend's coming up. I know that ours is on Sunday. The one closest to where we live is Philadelphia, and it's in Sunday. But if you aren't close to Philadelphia, then just look up in the events tab in Beachbody in your coach office, and you can find a location closest to you. Here's the deal. Even if you go alone, which I would suggest grabbing a friend and taking them, but if you go alone, you will feel welcomed. Everybody there is welcome. In every single Super Set weekend, all across the world, because now we're in England, you are going to feel welcome. So don't feel nervous about going by yourself also. Speaking of, well, let me talk about the, I'm going to talk about the pants and the fitness wear. If you haven't looked online yet, this week we had a whole new set of clothing that came out, and I'm so excited about it because I ordered 2 outfits, pants and bras. When I went to, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the chat to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, when I went to Summit, and I love it. I love the feel of it, so soft and holds me in for the bras. So go check out the new styles because they're really fun. Okay, let me make sure I'm like not skipping anything here. Quote of the week, and by the way, Amy, our fearless leader, put this together. She can explain why you picked the quote, or no, you don't want to. Well, it's one reason so few of us achieve what we truly want is that we never direct our focus. We never concentrate our power. Most people dabble their way through life, never deciding to master anything in particular. In other words, pick one thing and focus on it, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, I really chose it because I felt like I've been dabbling my way through this business for like the past 8 years. But when you laser beam focus on one area that you need to improve in and just laser beam focus on that area and do the trainings and do that area a lot. So like if you struggle like with team calls with me, like speaking, like do team calls over and over and over again for other teams until you feel so comfortable and confident in that area. And then once you master that, then you can go on to like the next thing. So that just spoke to me. So I thought maybe it would, don't dabble, just do it.
I love it. And I can see the difference, especially in Amy over the last couple, just literally just this last week in talking about coaching. So trying to flip that switch into talking more about coaching and recruiting, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Same with when you got started as a coach and started talking about your fitness journey. It was weird and awkward at first, but then you got used to it. And now it's like, you know, it's just what you do every day. Same thing with talking about your coaching journey. And that's what we're learning as we go. So super excited about that. All right. So when I told you that you can go to this event, everybody in Beachbody is so wonderful and nice, and don't worry about going by yourself. Let me tell you that that's actually how I met Trysta. We were at a Success Club event. We were in Mexico, and I was sitting there, and we were like in line to sign up for dolphins, and this really cute, adorable, bubbly girl was sitting next to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're adorable, I love you. And to my surprise, she wasn't totally freaked out about me saying that, and we actually got into an awesome conversation, and we've been following each other on social media ever since. And I absolutely love her, and I loved her confidence to go on the trip by herself. And I got to tell you, though, like, just because she looked confident going on the trip by herself doesn't mean she actually was. Like, she was just getting out of her comfort zone. But to me, she looked incredibly confident, right? And so I'm not saying you were or weren't. You can talk about that. But ever since then, I've been following her on social media, and I just love listening to her. She's so positive and puts an awesome message out every single day. So I'm going to let you go for it, Trysta. Go ahead and speak while I pull up your slides, okay? Introduce
Awesome.
yourself. Come on, let's see if I can get you on the spotlight.
My name is Trysta McLaughlin. So I have a really bad angle here, you guys. So you're just gonna have to bear with me. It is what it is. I've been a coach for 6 years. I am a diamond coach, and I can so relate with Amy in the dabbling game. So when I saw that quote, I was like, yes, girl, I feel that. So one area that I really have focused more on, and it actually is a strength of mine. So it's almost opposite of what Amy said, but she's right on point with that too, was challenge groups. So like I said, I've been a diamond coach. I've been a coach for 6 years. I'm a mom, boy mom. I just recently got remarried. So actually when I went to Mexico, I had just been through a divorce and I was petrified. I was petrified to go to Mexico by myself. But it ended up being an absolute blast, and it helped meeting Ashley, and just, I don't know, it was good. I had a good time, but I was petrified. So the whole confidence thing, I don't know where that came from. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Was there something else you wanted me to share before I jumped in? Can you hear me?
I am. Okay, now I was muted. Sorry. No, I think you should just dive right in, and you tell me when to flip the slide. Okay.
Perfect. So I am really, like, so many people have come to me and told me I should be a life coach. So I really study like the psychology of kind of the business, like how to build my team and how to build challenge groups. So I look at challenge groups as my means of discovering my team and already putting my team together. So that's really the purpose of my challenge groups. And I used this really good book as a template. We're not there yet, but I'll show you the book here in a minute so you can take down notes. But basically in the book, we go over the 3 keys to having successful groups. And we're talking Navy SEALs. We're talking the Spurs basketball team. We're talking Apple. We're talking Google. We're talking major teams with success. I was like, oh my gosh, I should apply that to challenge groups. That makes so much sense. Okay, so my first slide, you see that I'm really into lively, high energy challenge groups. All the energy, like Ashley has, jumping on the call, right? Her energy gets the energy of the call up, right? So her energy, like, leads the way. When you're starting a challenge group, you need to have it set in your mind that you're going to be excited, you're going to be in there, and it's going to be a blast because it starts with you. And if any of you guys are moms, you already know, you practice this probably every day, like your mood and your tone and your attitude is going to set the day. So that's like the secret sauce. And that's what I meant by what you give is what you get. So if you're giving good energy and you're giving your challenges what they need, you're going to get a very excited group and you're going to get a very excited team. All right, next slide, please. Yay, so this is the book, The Culture Code. So I actually have my slides on my computer too because I was going to share on my computer, but I'm like, Kim's being weird. So if I'm looking over here, that's why. The Culture Code. So this is a really great book. I really want to emphasize, again, the title is The Culture Code. I really hope that you decide to add this to some of your personal development because it's a big deal. I find all the tools in there really helpful. And then once you're in the book, you're going to find different links and studies that dive more into groups. And I know you're thinking, wow, that's a lot for a challenge group. But like I said, this is like building your team before they're even ready to be a team. So I know a lot of us in our challenge groups, we will have people in there that's already, joined the business, or maybe they're new coaches. But for the most part, a lot of us will have those that have not even been interested in coaching yet, right? So this is really, I feel like it's such a big deal. Like if you can master the challenge groups, you can master like a great team. Okay, so before I dived into all of that, I don't know how Ashley has trained you for challenge groups, and I want you to know before I go into the mechanics that you need to keep in mind what works best for you. So this might be a whole different way of doing things, and you may not be comfortable with it. I just want you to keep an open mind, but also remember, what works best for you is really oftentimes what you should stick to. Okay, so open mind, but remember, my way does not mean it's the only way, just like someone else's way does not mean it's the only way. Okay, so we know that we have 3 different types of challenge groups. We have the free groups, so like Clean Week, we like to do Crock Pot Week. Some people have done like the full 14 days using the Beachbody On Demand. There's a lot of different options. Then we have, I call it like the paid time frame group. So to me, that's like a 21-day fixed group, like a 3-week group. It's or a 30-day group, and you're following a program, or you're helping people just get started with the program. If it's like a long one, like Morning Meltdown 100, or I don't know, 80-day obsession. I'm actually doing 80-day obsession right now, and I'll tell you why. Because I saw Ashley doing it, and I was kind of dabbling, and I don't know why I was doing that, but I was dabbling, and I saw her doing it, and I was like, okay, it's time to get my butt back in gear. So that would be an example of a time frame group. And then ongoing groups. So I personally actually run an ongoing group. And now this is on Facebook, but it can be applied to the challenge tracker. I have tried the challenge tracker, and I will do some free groups in the challenge tracker, and I'll do the time frame groups in the challenge tracker. But obviously the ongoing groups, you can't do that in the challenge tracker. But I do have my most success on Facebook, so that's where my ongoing group is. typically when I run a free group or have a time frame group, those challengers that were in there get to graduate into my big ongoing group. And that's where they stay, and that's where we hang out. So let's see. Free group. So I also put on here too, a lot of people like to have a calendar set out. So I know I do. I have to have my months planned ahead of time. And I really recommend that you do the same thing too. That way you know what you're inviting to. A lot of people use a free group. So say a 5-day clean eating group, clean week group, and they'll move that. Does someone have a question? Sorry, I'm just kind of like moving through and I didn't stop to look. Okay. So I was saying, so calendar, you want to have your free group. You use your free group to move into a timed frame group. So like a 21-day fixed group, 80-day obsession. And then for me, like I said, I've put them in a group that goes on forever. It's called Team Brave and Beautiful. That's my team. We're Team Brave and Beautiful Fit Squad. And that is like the goal. So everyone that's in a free group, they're like, I get to graduate to the big group. I make it a big deal. Okay, next slide. Please, Ashley. Okay, so this is a little bit more mechanics, and the reason why I want to talk about the mechanics is there's a lot of psychology into the mechanics, and that's why I stick with it. This is again is talking about a Facebook group, and I'll tell you in a second how you can apply it to a to the challenge tracker. So the group setup. I'm just looking at this. I realize the font is kind of hard to see. So the first bullet says units. I actually changed, and I put a little picture here if you want to screenshot it or write down the instructions. But I make up my ongoing group into units. And the reason why I do this is because I can't tell you how many times I had people in my group say, Trysta, I couldn't find the Fix Aid cookbook, or Trysta, I'm confused on the meal planning. And basically I felt myself constantly going in my group live, sharing the same information over and over and over. And then finally I got smart enough and I was like, you know what? There needs to be a step. So like everyone needs to go through these videos to feel confident in the group. So I have a getting started unit. The first tab, so the tab will say start here. And then underneath that, I have a how to access Beachbody on Demand. I know that sounds very basic, but I can't tell you how many times, even after I've told people and even after I've gotten their welcome emails and everything else, I've had to explain how to get to Beachbody on Demand. So I just made a short video and I upload it under that tab. Next one I have is how to access the nutrition plan. Again, that's where I get my biggest questions. So I go through it with screenshots that walk them step by step straight to where you find in the materials where you find your calorie bracket. Right? I know you're like, that is so basic, but I can't tell you how many times doing these basic things made my challengers feel like they belong and not just left out in the cold, even though I've said it to them in an email, and even though I've said it to them face to face, I'm talking all over myself. Repeating yourself is necessary. You got to repeat yourself. And then I have a screenshot sample of how to access Fix Aid, because that's a lot of how most of my people learn how to meal plan. They use the Fix Aid cookbook. I want them to use the Fix Aid cookbook. It has great meals because so many times those that don't use the Fix Aid cookbook struggle. Okay, then the next video is explaining how I meal plan and how I meal prep. So there's no confusion there. And then I give them an action step. And this is really big. So this is the fun stuff, you guys. I know the other part's kind of boring, but this part's fun. So the action step is they have to create a personal transformation album in the group. They have to. And I know so many people are scared and terrified of doing this, but here is like the psychology, the secret sauce. They are being asked to be vulnerable and they're learning how to belong. So the three components this book talks about, the culture code, is belonging, being vulnerable, and I just lost my train of thought. Emphasizing purpose. I apologize. I'm a little distracted. Usually I'm in bed by now, you guys. I'm such an early riser. Okay, so again, belonging, vulnerability, and emphasizing purpose. So making them create an album forces them to be a little bit vulnerable, but they're being vulnerable as a group with other people. So when you're in a group with other people and everyone's being vulnerable, you start to grow very close to one another. It becomes a little bit more intimate. It becomes a little bit safer. You're already putting it out there like this is a safe place. So when you have a place that is safe and you have all these people in a group working together, being vulnerable together, all of a sudden you're going to start noticing friendships kindling amongst each other, and they're going to be building each other up. So instead of you just running the show and lecturing and getting on there live every day, which getting on there live is great, but instead of you like just pushing and pushing and pushing and kind of dragging your challenge group, you've put them in a place where they're pushing each other, and all of a sudden it's more fun. It's not this this push pull and then, oh no, my challenge group went boring, because I've been there. I'm like, well, how come no one's showing up? And then when you have that moment of no one showing up, you like over show up, if that makes sense. And it's only you just talking, and you make this divide where like you're the leader, which is good. And then they're just like the followers, and they're going to be quiet and do nothing because you're just going to do all the talking. And they notice the more quiet they are, the more talking you do. So you really want to create this environment where they have to be vulnerable, and they're going to end up leaning in on each other. Okay, next slide, please, Ashley. Okay, this actually says start here. But on this slide, yeah, you can read. Anyway, before I start a challenge group, I do a getting started right call. So this would apply, again, any challenge group. I do a getting started right call. So I make an announcement in the group, I pin it, everyone knows at this time we're all getting on, and we're all going to say hi to each other for the first time, and it's going to be a blast. So I make an announcement, and then we play this game once we get on the call, and it's a icebreaker game. So you can Google icebreaker games, and most of those you can kind of manipulate to be via Zoom versus in person. But you find something that you think is really fun. And that's what I open the call with. I don't even open the call with, hi, I'm Trysta. I let everybody get on. Everyone kind of is just sitting there, and then like, okay, game time. We're going to play 2 truths and a tale. You know, and if you don't know what that is, you have to share 2 truths about yourself and a tale, a lie, right? And then people have to kind of guess what your lie is. And so what you see happening here is I am not in control of the call. All of a sudden, I'm forcing them to get to know each other and figure each other out and start talking with each other. So I kind of almost sit back and allow this game to go on, and we do it for a little bit. And then after it's kind of died down, we figured out everybody's lies, we move on, and this is where we establish our purpose. So you want to be very clear and concise about what the goal is of the challenge group. And the goal of the challenge group is to see that they get their transformation. And you have to share what you expect of them. You have to share that you're expecting them to do their sweaty selfies, and you want to see their foods, and you need to know their questions, and you need to know their struggles. You need to know their victories. You got to share all of that. When I am emphasizing the purpose, right, what I almost always say is that I need you to show up and be responsible for the next person. You are responsible for the next person, and the next person is responsible for the next person. You are all responsible for each other. So no longer are you just showing up for yourself, you're now showing up for your friends, because now we're friends, and this is how this is going to work. So what that does, again, this goes back into that psychology of belonging. You've now created a safe place. You've now broken the ice and been a little bit vulnerable, and now you guys have a mission together. Together, being vulnerable, you have a mission of helping each other get results with this group. Now, right here, I want to take a moment and say, guess what? You have created your team. So right here in this moment, you're starting your call, and you've already done the mechanics of creating a successful team, and you're only dealing with challenges at that moment. Okay, so I remind them of the units in the group, because again, repetition is necessary. Remind them to check the units. I remind them that they must create their Facebook album. You have to. You absolutely have to. It's a safe place, and there's no reason not to. And then I kind of go on this little spoof where spoof's a bad word, but where I basically explain that we're saying goodbye to who we are today, and we're moving forward with our friends into a new person. So we need to be excited to share these before pictures. And I said, share expectations and then emphasize the start date. So obviously you have a start date for your group. You want to be sure that they are aware of that. Before I go to the next slide, does anyone have questions? Because I feel like I'm talking kind of fast and I just didn't want anything to be missed.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I love the album idea. Do people get nervous because they think you're going to share their pictures? And if so, how do you address that? Do you address it ahead of time? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do. I tell them in this call that this, again, is a safe place. There is absolutely no place for drama. There is no place for negativity. You can share your struggles and your hard times, but you will not come in here to have a pity party. You will show up, right? Also in the albums, no one is sharing your photos. That's just not how we roll. If I ever catch somebody sharing photos, they don't get to participate anymore. They're out. Like, I just kind of draw the hard line. I let them know they are safe here. We're going to make sure it's a safe place. When they are hesitant, and most people are, I will go ahead and tell you at least 80% of my challengers are hesitant to share those. That's why I share, look, we are saying goodbye to this person. You came to me committed. You came to me ready. We are saying goodbye to that person that you're trying to get rid of. And that sounds bad, not trying to get rid of, but we're saying goodbye to those old habits and those small changes and those fears that led you to this point that you need to change. We're saying bye to them. And that means you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. And so some people, it takes them a little bit longer, but I send them a reminder and I say, hey girl, we're getting started and I don't see your photo in the album. So I want to see your photo in the album. I'm ready. Also, the groups are closed, so they're not public or anything like that. I probably should have emphasized that. They're not available for you to just come in and see. We all were on that page. Did I answer your question good, Ashley?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead to the next slide. All right. Okay, so I love this picture. So the mechanics are done. And again, the mechanics were really just that basis of the psychology of like, and I'm going to keep saying it because like I said, repetition is necessary. Belonging, vulnerability, and emphasizing your purpose. Okay. And I know this sounds like so much for a challenge group, but if you can focus on those three things happening and creating an environment in your challenge group for those three things, you're going to find that your challengers show up every day. They're going to show up excited every day. And you're going to finish the challenge group with a lot of transformations because everyone is excited and everyone's leaning on each other and everyone is like ready to go even on the demotivating days. And we all know like halfway through a program, that's when we can feel the most unmotivated, right? But they all show up for each other and it's the coolest thing to witness. Okay, so daily posts. My daily post, with new coaches, I often tell them to look up the challenge group guides. That's a good place to start. Those are located in your back office. But I kind of give a little word of caution. I feel like sometimes they don't have your voice and your people are in your group for your voice. So I really feel you're better off going through the group guides and when you go through them, creating your own picture, or you can use the same picture and then talking about the same topic, but like from your voice. So paraphrasing, I guess, as you could say, make it your post, right? Kind of just like we do on our social media, right? Sharing our stories, it's our voice. We don't just go and copy and paste some other people's statuses. And if we do, we probably change quite a bit of it because it needs to fit us, right? And I'm not a big fan of copy and pasting, so I would avoid that. I really think it needs to come from you. Go live. That is one thing my team just loves. They love when I go live. And it can be anything. Some days it can be like a Q&A. Some days it's right after my workout and I'm like, oh, I just had this aha moment. I was struggling and let me share the struggle and now let me share my victory, right? So going live is a big deal. And if you're someone, like Amy said, if you're someone that might be a little nervous talking publicly or talking even Facebook Live, maybe you're wanting to venture into going Facebook Live on your actual timeline, but you're scared, your challenge group is such a fun, great place to practice because they already love you. They're already your people. So they're there to embrace you, right? That's the best place. And they're going to give you feedback too. So you have this perfect environment for taking those weaknesses or those fears and practicing them on your people. And you're going to end up fine-tuning those tools. Okay, so go live. That's a fun thing to do. Make time to respond to posts. I know that seems like a no-brainer, but I oftentimes have seen new coaches start a challenge group like hot, ready to go, awesome, right? And after a week, they start slacking on checking in every single day and responding to everyone. In my ongoing group, I have my whole entire team in there. They're responsible for going through every day, just like myself, and posting and liking everyone's posts. We talk about it on the team call often, that if we see that someone doesn't have a like or a comment, then we're not doing our job. And we need to be sifting through those, going through and making sure that everybody has engagement going on. So make sure you take time to go into your groups and you're responding every single day. Make it a consistent habit. Consistency is key. It's these small little things over and over and over that build into a big impact, especially in the challenge groups. Okay, so the last part of this I really like is get creative. So we do kind of go over the challenge group guides, right? I've been running challenge groups for such a long time that I just naturally pop in and talk about kind of what's on my mind. But as new coaches, I do think the group guides are a good baseline to use as you get more comfortable. So we have some fun things that we do in our groups every day too. I put Miss Thing Monday, which is a really fun day. On that day, because usually we have Monday blues, right? It's like people are kind of negative. That's just where we share positive quote. Miss Thing Monday, we share just something that's going to build each other up. Tip Tuesday or Transformation Tuesday. So you share transformation, or I'll share a transformation story. I'll ask if I can share someone else's transformation story in the group. Tip Tuesday, again, just any advice that you might have. And as you go through challenge group guides, you'll see lots of wonderful tips in there. I've seen, there's different things. So get creative with it. And I'm not the most creative person, so this is actually hard for me. Wonder Woman Wednesday is my favorite. I've been doing that one for 6 years now, and that's our recognition day. So that's the day I go in the group and I'm like, this week, this person has been on fire. I have to shout them out, right? So that's our recognition day. And we know the 4 vital behaviors, recognition is a big part of that. Thursday can be anything. I usually do like Thoughtful Thursday, so that's kind of like a more deep kind of day for us. But Thirsty Thursday works too. I see a lot of my coaches like to just do a tally, like what's your water intake today? And they think it's fun because it's quick and easy response, and it's just a fun way to keep up with water. Flex Friday or Feedback Friday. I like Feedback Friday because I just make a Google form, and it allows everyone in the group to be anonymous, and they can share with me what's going great and what's not, and what they like and what they don't, what they're struggling with, everything. So I just make a Google form and I let them go in there and say whatever they need to say, completely anonymous. And it allows me to see how the group is actually going. So it kind of gives me a guide there. Saturday shenanigans. So most of my people are families, moms, right? So the weekends, we're in the group and we still show up, but we also just want to see everyone having fun. So usually, like for my family, Saturdays are fun family day, and I just post a picture in there of our fun things that we're doing, and I ask them, what are you doing this Saturday? So very simple. And then Sunday, so I'm a very faith-based coach. I have the majority of my people go to church on Sunday. So on Sunday, I actually have a prayer thread. So that's just a personal thing that I do. Everyone has their own little niche. So that is something, just get creative and find a fun way where you can have this back and forth, kind of a little bit more personal conversation on a Sunday. So I know we tend to stick to just fitness and working out and momming, right? But like if you can think of something that might get a little bit more intimate. I'll give you another example. I have a friend who, she does intuitive eating. So for kids, she's like an intuitive eating psychologist. So on Sundays, she gets really down and deep in the nitty gritty of like child psychology around food. I don't have that expertise. All of you guys have your own personal expertise, and I think that is something that you could apply and dive into a little bit more for Sundays. But the purpose of diving into kind of something a little bit more emotional, I'm not going to tell you to be controversial, but not everybody has to agree. And it's a good thing in your group if you have people who can feel safe having an open discussion about something. If you can have an open discussion in your group, then you already know, like, you're doing this right, honestly. Whew, that was a lot to say. Sorry. Okay, I didn't mean to go this long. Okay, so the next parts are really easy. Can we go to the next slide, please, Ashley? Perfect. So the purpose of the challenge groups, obviously, is to get accountability, to get results. That's what we want. We want our people to succeed. Like, it's not just getting people in the group. We want them to come out the group like looking like Madonna. I don't know. I don't know why that's the name that came out of my mouth, but like hot stuff. Okay. So we want the transformations. And this is another reason why I do the albums. At the end of the group, at the end of their challenge, I want them to post it in their transformation album. And guess what? By the end, when they have results, they're eager and excited to share it. So when you send them a message and you say, hey, do you mind if I share your awesome transformation on my personal timeline? 9 times out of 10, they are blown away, excited, and all about it. So now not only do you have an awesome challenge group with challengers getting results, but now you have something to use for your next challenge group, right? Now you have proof that your challenge groups are awesome. And guess what that means? That means it's going to breed more excitement for people wanting to get in your challenge groups, because obviously you have successful challenge groups. So it's like this really cool cycle. It's one thing that I really love about the albums. And then, like I said, for challenge groups, I see it as a means of building a team. So at the end of a challenge group, like, I make a big deal out of it, and I always end up inviting just about everyone in there to be a coach. So it's a graduation. I go live. It's like the second to last day of the group. I go live, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, we're towards the end. You guys, I just have to tell you, you're so awesome, you know? And I mentioned becoming a coach. And I'm like, I just throw it out there. I'm like, this is probably for you. You guys have all been rock stars, you're leaders. If you thought about it, like, you and I need to talk. And I just say it like that. Like, it's not anything big. I just casually throw it out there. And then at the end of the group, we kind of have like a little party. So you know how we have the beginning call? We also have an end call. And at the end call, we just celebrate each other. So I make little certificates for like the rock stars in the group. Typically, I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's usually just about everybody has one. I don't want anyone to feel left out, you know? So I know that kind of sounds like a participation trophy, but I get really silly with it. Like, I'm like, coolest hair ever. Like, she gets the certificate for having the coolest hair ever. You know, as you're going through the group and you get to know each other's personalities, it becomes so easy and so fun to pick a certificate for their graduation. Okay, and then I also send thank you cards and gold stars. I don't know why there's a picture of coffee right there. I just realized that. It's supposed to be a gold star. Anyway, I send a picture or a sheet of gold stars with a thank you card to all of them, to every single one of them, just saying thank you for trusting me in this group. You were a rock star, and I just wanted to give you a sheet of gold stars to remind you what an awesome person you are. The reason why I started doing that is because I remember as a little girl getting the gold star on your paper. Do you guys remember getting graded with a gold star? And it was a big deal. Like, it makes you feel good. And then I encourage them. What did I put here? If they haven't already considered. Oh, so in there too, I'm like, hey, if you've ever thought about it, you should consider being a coach. So I give them the gold star stickers. In the note, I mentioned, feel free to hand these out, because like, when you give away things and you receive something, you want to give too. So like, I tell them with their sheet of gold stars, like, give a gold star to someone today and make them feel good, just as good as you feel. Usually they message me or they'll post on Facebook and they're like, oh, look what my coach sent me. And then that's when I message them. I'm like, you know what? Have you ever thought about being a coach? Like, have you ever thought about doing what I do? And I invite them to be a part of the team. Like, I absolutely use my challenge groups to build my team. All right, last but not least slide, Ashley, please. Okay, So another book, because I'm huge on personal development, I love psychology, sociology, as you can tell, and that's why I love challenge groups. So Present Over Perfect, that's another great book that I just wanted to share with you guys. Because like I said, all about personal development. But I want to share real quick what does not work. I think most of us know this, but I really want to emphasize this. Being perfect. I'm so guilty of being a perfectionist, and I really feel like that held me back the first 3-ish years of being a coach. I was so hung on the perfect angles and the perfect pictures and the perfect this and the perfect that. And even I would get in my groups and I would talk perfect. Everything had to be perfect. AKA that's fake, because no one's perfect. So don't do that. Be who you are and be happy with it and be excited about it. Own it, show up, and whatever happens, happens, right? Inconsistently showing up to the group. If you're just barely showing up, you're not showing up every single day, guess what? You're telling your challengers, it's not a big deal. So I don't need to show up. You don't need to show up. What's the point? All right. So don't do that. Be consistent showing up. Being a know-it-all is the worst. I'm also guilty of this. That's why I can share. Being a know-it-all. Nobody likes a know-it-all. So back off of like trying to lecture and teach, and instead be more engaging. So like ask more open-ended questions. And then what about negative Nancy's? Because I do have that from time to time. It's very interesting how to deal with someone who is having a really hard time versus somebody who is just always trying to bring the group down. And I know you know what I mean. So the way I handle negative Nancy's is, like I say, very positive to whatever they're posting in the group. Then I send them a message, or I ask them if they would like to get on the phone with me, because I find phone conversations work best. And I just talk to them about what's going on so they feel like they belong in the group again, because oftentimes someone feeling that negative energy doesn't feel like they belong. So I bring them back into belonging. I share, like they're sharing their vulnerabilities with me, I share mine with them, and then they start to reconnect to the group, and it usually fixes the issue. So if you can get some time with them on the phone, that works pretty well. And then, I put not engaging daily with all posts. I had to rewrite this slide like 6 times, so that's why it's repetitive. So yes, that's what I have for you guys. I didn't mean to get super long-winded, but there's a lot of psychology that can actually go into challenge groups in a lot of details. So I hope that you were able to take away from this what you need. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Oh my gosh, my mind is mush right now from the amount of notes that I took. I am in love with so much, but at first I want to open the lines. Does anybody have any questions? I'm trying to go over some of this feedback. Amanda Steele, oh my God, I love this book. I am going to a training about it tomorrow. That's awesome, Amanda. Feedback Friday, that's so good. Did you get the idea from Culture Code 2?
No, I did not. Actually, Feedback Friday did not come from that book. It actually came from constantly doing challenge groups over the years, and like I needed to know what was working and what wasn't. So that was just something I decided to do with Google Forms.
Love it. Love the graduations. Don't apologize for awesomeness, Amy. Okay, so it looks like you're getting a lot of awesome feedback. I personally am, or was just trying to buy Culture Code. Actually, I'm going to buy Culture Code and Present Over Perfect. I'm so excited to read them both. I love right away you said, do what's working for you now, but totally be open to, and that's so important to me, because I think when I started as a coach, I was like, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to do that. But you start realizing you have to also keep doing what you're doing and just tweak things, right? And so the things that I took away from this that I love Wonder Woman Wednesday, love that. Feedback Friday I'm in love with, and I love Sunday. I love that you do a prayer chain. Like, that is so awesome to me. So I love that. The personalized certificates, oh my God, I would die if somebody gave me something that I would love it. Like, person with the coolest hair. I would be so happy to get a certificate that said that. I work really hard for that. No. And I'm very excited about the belonging, vulnerability, and just the way that you bring everybody in. And I find that with the way you're talking about this, it comes from setting the expectation right away. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes I find I'm so rushed and I'm pulling a group together that I'm still adding people after the start date. And when I do that, you can't set the expectation appropriately. Do you know what I mean? And so I love it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I struggled with that too, and I had to just draw a hard line. I really did, because I felt like I was doing them a disservice, you know?
Absolutely. And so that totally inspires me. Like, I need to make sure that I have my together and that I'm setting the expectations, because that is so, so big. Because if I'm feeling overwhelmed, or if I'm feeling disheveled and overwhelmed, then they're probably feeling it times 10. And so I love the idea of having the call, having all of that ahead of time, and telling them their expectations right away. Love it. Thank you so much. Does anybody not only have questions, but any kind of feedback for Trysta, what you're excited about, what really helped you? So transformation albums live within the challenge group. Yes, right? The transformation albums are in your challenge group.
Yes. So you go to the cover photo. I put instructions how to do it in my challenge group, and I tell them on the call too. But you go under your cover photo, you have the 3 dots, you click on that, it allows you to create an album. So all your challengers can do the same thing. And then I have them, they title it themselves. I don't tell them what to title it or anything. I tell them it just has to have their before pictures, and I would prefer to have their measurements too.
Okay. And so you just have, like, in the cover photo, the directions on how they do it, basically.
So actually in the units, when I do the call to action, so they have to start here and then they have to move through, right? In the call to action to make their album, that's where I write the instructions to tell them how to create the album. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I have a quick question about that. Is it easy for them to add pictures to the album then later?
Yes. It makes it easy.
Okay, cool. So that's awesome. Anybody else have any other questions? I don't think so. I think we're all good. Trysta, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really took a ton of notes. I'm really excited to put some of these things into action. Only 2 things first, because I'm trying. And I feel like everybody else on the team seems to be super, super excited. They're all saying thank you so much. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you. Probably, are you going on we'll have to talk about the next events that you're going on to, because we're going to have to hang out.
Ashley, let's quick team pick.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, awesome. Love you guys. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye.